Chris, if you'd like to, with your team.
Sounds good. As we each have something to say, I'll let them introduce themselves, but really quick, I do have Jessica Fendos, our supervisor for GIS, and we have Ronnie Woods, who is our project manager in our fiber group, as far as that goes. Maybe for kind of a quick understanding of what Logis is, I think it's important to take a few minutes to talk about that. The reason is that what we do and who we work with and who we are. I start off with, we're a political subdivision. The reason why I say that is because we want to make sure a lot of our members, and our members are cities, counties, various public entities, including like Metro Transit and so on. Why that's important is because we're not a vendor for them. We are basically their IT shop. In some respects, we're a lot of their cloud type of activities. My world involves mainly two things. I'm a director there, sharing the role with four of the directors and an executive director, where in my world, I have public safety applications and then GIS. Thank goodness for the people like Jessica and so on who really know their stuff and can really run their divisions well. But we support agencies, we support cities. The stance from Logis is very much, we help our communities thrive. The goal there is to make sure that we're supporting them, taking off some of that IT type level work so they can get back to their, for no better term, day jobs. I'm sure you're all seeing it where so many of these cities and counties and so on are just, people are wearing multiple hats. We've got knowledgeable staff that really are skilled in what they do. So being that way, we support roughly close to probably 70 members, a variety of sizes and entities, from Metro Transit to Bloomington to, we have a couple on the public safety side, we have a couple of police departments that are, 2-3 people. So there's a wide variety. We are only support public type entities in Minnesota, but a lot of it's Metro, some of it's not. We have Rice Steel counties, the 911 center down there. We support Rochester on a variety of things. So outside of public safety and GIS, obviously we have Ronnie Woods on too. So we have a fiber group that, again, we are helping put fiber into the ground and getting information flowing over that fiber on a lot of different areas throughout a lot of different counties and a lot of different municipalities. On the side note, Logis has things like finance, park and rec, utility billing, inspection components. So there's a lot of different things we do that really support our cities and giving them that IT structure that they need. So with that, we have a fairly large audience as a whole. We report to a board made up of all of our members. So our budget is their budget. We are by definition a nonprofit, but then there's no profit for us to be made. Our goal is just to make sure that they can thrive and we can take burden off of them. Public safety realm, especially the GIS realm, and especially having Jessica as our supervisor, she's relatively new to Logis, but she has a lot of knowledge, a lot of history in the Metro and with GIS. And our goal there is to, same thing, is that what can we do to help our citizens, our communities, our agencies, and our members thrive and be able to get information to them. And safety information is huge. We already do a lot, and Jessica's going to spend time on this as far as, knowing where their utilities are, knowing where information is. Ronnie and the team she works with, there's a lot of things that they manage and know where their fiber's at. And so maybe we don't own the tunnel that the fiber's in, and Ronnie's going to correct me if I'm using the wrong terminology, and that's rightfully so. But there's a lot of places where we know where it's at. We understand those routes and the importance of keeping all that safe. So I think it goes back to this whole, what's under the ground, and how do we protect that to, protect the people that are working out there and protect our communities as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, and she can really give some, detailed information about what Logis GIS is and how we operate.
Just a quick question, Chris, before you go on, is what's the funding mechanism?
Individual entities' budgets. So we then, the Citywood has a line item maybe for Logis, and a good example is Golden Valley. They utilize us for a lot of things. On the public safety side, they utilize us for maybe park and rec, and we have a network services team. So we have hardware, the switches, the cable, and all that we have at Logis that is, like I said, their cloud. We do a lot of memory and so on. So we basically get with our members every year. We're in the throes of a budgeting process. We tell them, here's what it takes for us to operate, and here's what you're going to need to budget for based upon what they're utilizing from us. Now, anytime, like a little side note, we just went into, we have a security group, but we actually went into security as a service. So we brought in, I think, up to almost 10 agencies that are going to be participating in that. So they're paying, quote unquote, extra for that, but they're going to get some extra service. But it's all that member city, county entity that's paying for it on an annual budget process.
Thank you.
Jessica, I've turned off the share. You should be able to grab it.
Okay. Sure. Let me just go. You're not seeing the screen, are you? Okay. Hold on, we share. Oh, this one. So this is what I presented at the last GSLS conference, and some of the contents can be used for our discussions today. And so don't worry about the Logis 5.0 caption. That was kind of a twist in the Hawaii 5.0, because we have a big public safety team, and we have 5 people on the team. And also Logis just reached 50th anniversary last year. So that was our kind of tagline, Logis 5.0, playing with words. This is the member list that Chris was just talking about. We have about 60, 70 entities. Can you see the story map? Just to confirm. Yes? Okay. So these entities, their IT systems are part of our Logis IT ecosystems, right? So they have a Logis account, and their business lines, for example, if they subscribe to our PIM system, permitting system, or fiber, if they're a fiber city, they will tap into our IT fabric. So everything is under the Logis umbrella. And that's what is Logis, the advantage. We're calling it, we're stronger together, because, you know, we have this big IT fabric that we can, especially from the GIS side. GIS is an integration technology, and we can, just like your ticketing system can be viewed from the GIS, everything is linked together. From a GIS application, you can see PIMS information, you can see fiber, you can see parcel if you're our PDS customer as well. Everything can be linked together as different layers of information based on at a parcel level. And in your case, is at the ticket level. So we can do that kind of integration for all our members. Let's just start from, so this is our team, integration with Logis. So internally, I think you're mostly interested in how we deliver services to our members. But internally, as Chris just mentioned, GIS supports different business lines. So I'm gonna expand this and see whether you can bring up this one. Public safety is one of the big business area that Logis GIS supports. We work with different, I want to move this thing away from the button. So we work with different PSAPs, all the entities, to make sure that they submit the most current address points and central lines so that we can serve it in the central square system. And public safety covers a 20 county area as their customer base. So it's a big geographic area that we have to support. Fiber, this might be more related to this team. This is Justin, he's the GIS supervisor. Craig is also from the fiber team. They're doing GPS integration, trying to link with the MinCore system at the state. And also their data collection is integrated with GPS. We can achieve under half a foot accuracy. This is what they do at Robbinsdale as an example. So fiber, we have application built for fiber team. They can view their attachments. So field nodes and all the fiber infrastructure can be displayed from our app. Okay. PIMS, let's just scroll down to PIMS. So as I mentioned, internally, all the business lines can be integrated because we have access to all the business databases. From a GIS perspective, we can integrate all that information and display them at a parcel level. You can see plumbing and permitting information and external links to other counties and such. So that is internal use. I'm going to close this out. We're going to move on to our membership. So if you look at conceptually, Logis GIS is our member cities extended GIS shop. So they have different departments, and instead of having siloed data, we have an enterprise SDE database. We have different connection files for all our members, and they connect to this a centralized GIS database from here. So you can see that it's a one-stop data and server service model interfacing with different business entities. But imagine there are 8-10 cities out there all using this similar service model. This is our infrastructure. So we have actually 4 instances. We have 2 standalone ArcGIS server instances. We're at version 11. We also have a production enterprise portal and a development enterprise portal on the left-hand side. So we have 4 instances serving our GIS cities. I have a hub to show you. Since Kristen used a lot of time, we can spend a little more time here. Now you're seeing that these are the GIS member cities. These are the members that pay the full-blown service package with Logis. But recently, we also have something that's called managed services. So cities can subscribe a service or like an application. Some cities can subscribe just operation dashboards and tap into our GIS resources from Logis. So you can go big, you can go small. Okay, so but these are fully committed, full service members, and we manage their centralized database. We have the server infrastructure to publish their services, and we also build applications for them, whether it's from the diagram you just saw, whether it's assessing department, a parcel viewer, or it's a fiber or water utility or street inventory app, kind of stuff. We also build full-blown applications for them. There are some examples here. We built a story map for each of the city that we support. You can see that the progress we made for them. So detailing what kind of recent GIS development that we did for them. So each city, we have a story map built.
Jessica, if I could ask you to click on Hutchinson, please.
Hutchinson, oops, right.
Second from the top.
Oh,
There
right
you go.
here. Sorry. Hutchinson. Yes, Hutchinson has been our member city since, well, for 20 years, since around 2000, 20 plus years. And have you had a conversation with City of Hutchinson?
We're getting ready to have one, and I was just curious. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just curious as to the level of integration of their utility information with you.
Yeah,
So
and
for
the GSOC board member is board chair is Hutchinson, City of Hutchinson.
Okay, so we
Is
have
that Brandon?
Yes,
Brandon is the GIS person, and Dave Hunstead
Tom
is
Kloss.
yeah.
Tom Kloss is the IT director, I think. That's
And
their
Brandon has been part of this whole program since the beginning, so I know they're very happy. I mean, they'd be willing to go ahead and give their data up too, so and participate.
Sure. We have something like gas infrastructure. We have the barcode scanning app for them. So from scanning the barcode on the device, they can know their, keep track of their maintenance schedule and all that. So that's, we also have a workforce project for them. So the city supervisors, they can assign tasks for mobile workers to go out and inspect like water, manholes, and all that maintenance schedule. They can, it's the field mobile solution that we built for Hutchinson. We didn't capture all the mobile apps here because, mobile apps sometimes is secured with a user account. So, but sometimes in the story map, you'll find a video that we recorded for that application. Does that answer your question? So yes, we are their GIS service provider for City of Hutchinson.
And
is there anything else?
For the group, I think it was Travis, you said something that I think is important. So I don't want to interrupt Jessica too much, but I want to make sure that as things potentially progress, what Logis is we are, this is what I explained what we do for our members. However, at the end of the day, whether it's public safety or GIS data, it's their data. So we will always go back to those individual agencies and say, if you want to do something with your data, and this was even on the fiber side, there's a fiber group of, do you want us to share that data? And we usually expect them to do that. We'll help facilitate that if we're given that direction, but it's not our data to release, but just more of an awareness for this group for right now. So sorry, Jessica, I just wanted to point that out while it's fresh.
So for South St. Paul, for example, we built a public engagement hub for them so they can showcase all their success development stories right here. And they can have a highlighted project. There's a video you can play. We also integrated their fiber data here. We got the approval from South St. Paul to display fiber infrastructure in their website, existing planning proposed fiber buildings. And also it's integrated with MinCard system. So all the new development project, you can integrate from a hub, you can talk to external applications as well. So just some example how we support our cities. This hub is for all the GIS users. And as Chris mentioned, there's some solution template, for example, citizen report tool. When there's a fallen tree or a pothole, people can submit a survey to the city, and we build operation dashboard to help them manage the incoming tickets as well. And that's built on Esri solution templates, and Esri solution template. You can also have event calendar. So we hold quarterly user group meeting, and I sent an email to you, Steve, yesterday about our May user group meeting. So all the meeting agenda is captured through another story, like a story map. So people meet quarterly. We'll go through our work plan. We also have some highlights. Sometimes we invite guest speakers. Last time we talked about Laserfish integration from GIS, and Brooklyn Center made a presentation. We also talk about, the newest and the best effort. For example, offline editing is what we talked about. Solution template is also one of them. Citizen reporting solution template. So we have some videos here, and it's all linked back to our hub. So that's our consortium. We have user testimonial. Every city says something good about Logis, saying we are reliable partners. We help them solve their day-to-day problems. So user testimonials are here as well. That's pretty much it. I'm about on time. Is there anything else you would like me to cover?
I have a question. So these cities are like mid-size, fairly good, but not small. If I'm a smaller city of 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000, is this an affordable solution? Because you said I could go big or go small. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the managed services I was talking about. And Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong or we are not on the same page. For these cities, they're going with the survey infrastructure, the centralized database, all the services we published, and also all the applications that this city needs, right? So it's kind of like their enterprise GIS system at Logis. It's their extended GIS shop. For smaller entities, that's the thing I was talking about. You can subscribe, let's say, a data hosting, or you publish the police data for us, and we have a fee schedule for that as well. So it's a smaller portion of the membership cost. But we need to discuss, what these smaller entities are looking for. Are they looking to have someone to have an enterprise database to host their data? Do they want to publish to a service as well? And so that the Minnesota underground mapping application consume the service? All that we need to, further define. At this time, we're opening up for discussions.
So this is Esri based, correct?
Right.
This is, however, I think Esri and the open source field, I started out doing open source as well. I think they're interoperable, right? Bob?
Yeah, somewhat.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry,
Okay.
you caught me. I wasn't even paying attention. No.
Sorry.
No, I was paying attention. Yes, they are interoperable.
Mhm.
Not too many people realize that, but
Yep.
you can go both ways, and both sides can read and post to the other side as well.
Yes.
So but when
Yeah.
somebody's paying for Logis, that includes an Esri subscription, I assume?
Well, it doesn't include, for example, some of our cities. Maple Grove is exception. They have their own ELA with Esri. They have their own servant enterprise license agreement, but they still rely on Logis to maintain their infrastructure, to build more the higher end applications. For example, geo calendar for their trash service. You click a point on the map, it will tell you what day of the service pickup is. So it will give you a calendar and say, oh, your address falls on Tuesday of this month. And if there's a holiday, it will honor that and push one day further. So it's used arcade scripting to manipulate that. So the higher end stuff is still rely on us. Smaller cities, that's just using Brooklyn Center as an example. But in your case, you're looking at even smaller cities. So our cities, let me just, maybe this will be helpful. They have their own desktop licenses. Okay, so they have a 1 seat of advanced desktop license, so people can, edit parcel boundary or change the row center line, shorten it, lengthen it, or what have you, manipulate the spatial data. They have that capability because they work for Public Works Department. But Steve, you mentioned smaller utilities. You're not talking about a city. You're talking about like a water service provider. Can you explain that a little bit?
I think an example would be historically, the electric grid in rural build outs. There are some smaller entities out there. Same thing with telephone service would be kind of examples that would pop to the forefront for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not specifically a municipality. It could be a utility provider.
Right.
Mhm.
Jessica, I'm wondering, could you talk just briefly about the issue of authentication in moving
Okay.
data back and forth?
Data authentication between the users.
Well, I think Bob would more appropriately address it from the technical standpoint that we're thinking about. Bob, could you bail me out here?
I think what Steve's looking for is how you're managing the security of the data. A lot of users are going to want to not necessarily publish their data to everybody. How do you control secure access or permitting of people to access it by the owners?
Sure. All the services that we publish, pretty much, I would say 95%, they're secured. Okay, unless the third-party application requires an open service. So we secure them. And in AGOL, RGS Online is a cloud hosting is the public cloud, right? Most people know Esri, RGS Online. It's an online portal. So in our RGS Online organization, we added these service endpoints as we embedded the security in, like username and password, before we brought it into AGOL. Okay, so it lives in our RGS Online as a data item. And then when you build the application, you embed that pre-authenticated token, so that if you want to make it public, you can, but the service is secure. So for the public facing application, you do it that way. No authentication is required. But when we need to lock it down from the application side, there's several ways you can do this. I think Bob is familiar with this. You can use proxy server on your GIS server, so that you pre-embed the token and say, oh, these are the addresses that you should allow. In addition to that, we also, from the RGS Online, each city has their own RGS Online portal. Although they don't have 100 users, they might have just 5 users. They can use share account, and each account in RGS Online costs about $400 or $500. Some are even cheaper. The mobile workers are $350. So it's not a lot of upfront investment in the RGS Online portion. Then they have accounts there. We set up a group, for example, Brooklyn Center. In our Logis RGS Online, we set up a group and we invited these users to our group so that they can have access to our application. When we publish the application, we say, share it with Brooklyn Center user group. Does that help you? Does it answer your question?
I think the answer is we'll need to take this offline. Bob's probably got the handle fully on this, but we've been wrestling with this authentication thing for a bit. So yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
we can take it offline. But, you're using open source, so slightly different, right?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's not RGS Online. But to be honest with you, if it's interoperable from the map server side, from the open source realm, as long as the service endpoint is open and you have access to that endpoint, you should be able to access it, to add it to your application. But again, let's talk this offline. We
Sure.
have time.
Yep.
And I know
Thank you.
Bob knows me.
Yep. What do you think, Barb? Any more questions for Chris or Jessica? And I apologize.
Are you
Ronnie,
tied into any ticket management software right now? Or are any of these cities using this for their one call routing?
Yes, we had our policy committee meeting. We met with 4 major cities just a couple of days ago. We talked to their public works representatives. They use state one call system in one form or the other. So for example, White Bear Lake, their water department interfaces with A11 ticket system. Our fiber team actually is here, right? Ronnie, she interfaces with your system very often, and she has some input. Can we have her talk to you for about a minute or two about how she, submit her GIS data to your system?
that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, Ronnie.
Hi, guys. I work in the fiber group, and a Logis member will submit a ticket to us. From that point, we will get the construction done. When we get red lines from our general contractor, I will then get a KMZ created and send it over to Gopher State One Call to add to an account. From there, Logis has hired a company to locate and maintain. So for us, once we get it added to the Gopher State One Call map, those tickets then are sent to our hired contractor, and we will locate a ticket, clear a ticket, go to a meet. We will manage emergencies, everything for that member.
And Ronnie, we had a conversation before this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You submit the data in a KMZ format, but
Correct.
They actually can accept other formats as well.
Yes, currently the contractors we use to build infrastructure for us, majority of them all use KMZ files.
Mhm.
You need additional software to get other shape files, and it's just standard through the industry currently that we use KMZs with everybody.
But we can convert KMZ to
Yes.
ASRI format and import into our SDE too. Just
Correct.
another translation.
Ronnie, I know, we have talked in the past, and I know this just, you guys use my equipment, our radio detection equipment, and, the geode, the Juniper geode I saw in the photos that I think it was Justin was using.
Correct.
I'd like to have a conversation more. I want to see how, the barcode scanning is a very important process. I want to know how you integrated that. And also I might have a workflow for you that will work easier that you can push out to Hutchinson. That was the biggest thing with Hutchinson is they were part of our pilot program and they use Esri to do a lot of their collecting, but then we have our app and stuff that will talk to the locator. But the big thing was they wanted to also have integration with the barcode scanning. So it's all in one. So I'm wondering if there's a solution we can come up with together and offer cities. So.
Yeah, so my staff, we produced a barcode scanning app for them, and I think they're revisiting that application now. We developed it maybe more than a year ago, but they were, in testing mode, but they never put it in production. But recently they say, hey, we want to revisit this application, let's do it, blah, blah, blah. So I think maybe that's related.
Well, yeah, if we can set up a meeting whenever you're ready, later today or something, but I like to kind of visit that workflow some more. So see what we can do to help you.
And is that for both Jessica and Ronnie, or just want to make sure we're clear?
Well, I think it's your fiber group that's mainly doing the collecting. So
Yes,
whoever's
and
involved with that, and
Justin and Craig are both out of the office until Monday.
Yeah,
okay,
sometime
well,
next week.
yeah, you can check with them and just get back with me and let me know when works for you.
Okay.
So
Thank
Travis, do you have what you need for contact info? Sounds like you're good.
I have some. I mean, I have Ronnie.
You're cut off.
You're
You're cut off, Travis.
Sorry, I'm purposely muting myself, I guess. But actually, I have Brian Bayer, and then I have Ronnie's info. So is Brian
Brian's
still
no longer with the company, no.
not there anymore? Okay, but yeah, right, Ronnie obviously.
Yep, send me an email and I will get it to Justin and Craig. And
Okay.
we'll set something up for next week.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I think Barb, I think we should move on to
Oh, yes, we do, because we have a lot more to cover.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining
Yep.
us.
Chris, Ronnie, and Jessica, thank you so much for coming by. It'll stimulate a lot of discussion on this end. Thank you so much.
I have a
Okay.
suggestion, Steve. Could you send the three of them the CGA case study document?
Sure. Be glad
Gives
to
them
do
some
that.
more
I think I may
context.
actually already sent it to you, Jessica, did I?
I think the first email I forwarded to all that was
Yeah.
invited,
Okay.
except Ronnie.
We've already got it. They're
I
good.
sent it to Ronnie. Justin has it. Justin
Okay.
and Craig has it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a
And
good day.
Thank you.
And really quick, just be respectful of everyone's time. I just, what you said, you have a lot more discussion. Feel free to reach back out to us and see, because then we can have that true discussion. What do you think us as Logis, and maybe it's Logis GIS, maybe it's Logis fiber only, or a combination, what we can do for you, what you think you want us to do for you, and then we can go back and figure out what that truly means. But we'll wait for you to give us guidance and direction and further questions. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice
All right.
meeting you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye now.